Welcome. This podcast is a series of candid conversations exploring the human experience from a completely new perspective. In it, we will be diving deeply into the meaning of commonly used words and pointing you away from that old stressful way of looking at life and towards a new paradigm. This will help you find a sense of calm, cultivate meaningful relationships, and create harmony in every aspect of your life. Here is Navigating Life with Ease with Michaela, Ellis and Clare Downham.
Hey, good day, Clare.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, very
Good,
good.
good. I have a word for you.
Cool.
Burnout.
Oh, that old friend of mine. Yeah, well, I mean, it's very interesting actually, because when I say that old friend of mine, I really mean it because, you know, that Byron Katie quote, everything is happening. Oh, what's it? Everything is happening for you, not to you. Everything happens at exactly the right time, neither too early nor too late. You don't have to like it. It's just a lot nicer if you do. I mean, that is, I wish I liked it at the time, but I really didn't like being burnt out. It was pretty horrible. But I now see that, well, I never would have yet met you, Michaela. We wouldn't be sitting here now if I hadn't burnt out. We really wouldn't. I probably wouldn't have met my fiance. I wouldn't be sharing this understanding now. I wouldn't be jetting off to Spain in a very few days to go and share this understanding. Like, so much of my life is better in inverted commas because of burning out. And I also really think that if I hadn't burnt out, I probably would have had a heart attack or a stroke by now, because if I'd carried on at that level of stress, I would have eventually got sick in some other way. So I'm utterly grateful, actually. It is a gift. It's been a gift, really. However, it wasn't fun, and I don't recommend it. Just people sitting at home going, "Oh, Claire clearly thinks burnout's great. I'm going to give that a shot." Do no, it's not. It's not so good. And it seems to be extremely common now. Seems to be becoming more and more common. People are burning out, and I think it's fundamentally underpinned by this outside-in confusion that people live in. That if we can just get there, wherever the heck there is, we will finally feel at peace. It's changed how I perceive my burnout over the years, and as I've got further into this conversation and got more deeply grounded, I've seen it differently. But I think fundamentally, I was always a high achiever. I always wanted to be doing better, doing more, getting further on the ladder, whether that was academically or then in my career. You know, I took a promotion when I had a 2-year-old and a baby, quite a big promotion. On maternity leave, I was applying for jobs. That's how bonkers I was. And so there was always this pushing, always this driving, not just in my working life, but how I organised my personal life and my children's lives and all the different activities they got to do and all the doing, just never stopping. My brain never switched off because I was always planning the next thing, organising the next thing, strategically controlling, trying to control every single thing in my life. I mean, I call myself a recovering control freak. I wouldn't say I'm fully recovered yet. Not sure you ever do, but I definitely am that. And then, you know, I get to the top of the ladder of the career thinking that almost, and I think this is definitely sold to us in society, that when we get there, let's say there is the top of the career ladder or an amount of money or a number of clients or whatever it is, that this feeling of success will land upon us, and that will be a really nice feeling. And guess what, folks? Spoiler alert. Great spoiler alert, though. It doesn't happen. You don't suddenly feel good enough. You don't suddenly feel amazing about yourself. And that feeling, it's almost like a grieving process that I went through at that time, when it was just like, oh my God, I'm here. I still, and I wouldn't have consciously said this, but there was just this hole within me that hadn't been filled by the career and getting to the top of the ladder. It hadn't happened, and I was exhausted, and it still looked like there was therefore something else to do. And at that point, I was a year since I'd split from my husband, and so it seemed to me then, well, the thing must be the man. That's what's missing then. I've got the career, but now I've got the man piece missing. I need to go find a man. So then I did high achieving online dating, as I call it. Not afraid to tell you folks, because you know I like to be honest, but I did go on 3 dates in one day once. Who knew that was a thing? That's what school holidays were for, going on multiple dates. And again, that I didn't find the man until I'd actually burnt out, ironically. But again, it wasn't going to happen that way. But as a result of all the messaging on online dating made me very anxious, because it was like, I need this one to work out. I need this one to work out, and they wouldn't message me back. And then there would be just this awful feeling, and my sleep went spiraling down. My illness rate just got silly, bearing in mind I was a person who never used to get ill, never got coughs or colds or anything. I don't now, because I don't have stress. But I did back then in the run up to burnout. And for me, the end was walking to work one day and just looking at my computer and finding that it was like my body had just had enough. It was almost like there wasn't a thought other than, I can't switch on the computer. I just can't bend down and press the button. It's just not there. And then, I walked out, and I didn't know at the time, but I never went back. And I was sick. I was really sick for a year, and then began a very, very slow recovery. That, to be honest, took years, But interestingly, then when I started my own business, after I resigned, I took the same mindset into my business, which wasn't particularly helpful. But luckily, after a few years, I came across this understanding and stopped being so damn harsh on myself and so pushy of myself, But I think if I hadn't come across this understanding, I probably would have burnt out my business as well. I was probably on my way to burning out again at that point, because I was working so hard on my business, but then working so hard on myself, because I thought it was a me problem. I thought it was all a me problem. But yeah, it's all, I was a primary school head teacher, so when I say to people I burnt out, they will point to education and, oh, this education's terrible, but everybody's burning out in education. Well, I don't blame my job at all. I don't blame me, but I see that it was me and how I thought about the world and how much I thought I needed to do to be okay that created too much to do and too much to think about, which was the result of that was a lot of stress and fun, and in the end, burnout. So, yeah, definitely a topic I know a bit about, but I'd love to hear, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I really see that it's being so caught up in things outside of you, no matter what they are, that have you on this treadmill or feel like you need to be on this treadmill in order to stay above water. And it's like the opposite is happening. The burnout to me is drowning, or it's like you're trying to get your head above water, but you're treading, you're going down. The more you tread, the tireder you get. It was actually posed to me as a suggestion for the podcast, but it was around, they didn't understand that one word thing yet. Wasn't clear. So it was like, how can you prevent burnout and still keep up your productivity? And my question really is just like, is there productivity truly when you're on the road to burnout? Is that what you call productivity? Because if it's just getting things done, okay, well, you can just get things done, but what kind of meaning are those things providing for you? What is the feeling behind the doing. Because if it's lighting you up and you're living, a life that you enjoy and you're very active, that's one thing that is not going to lead to burnout. Although I was away for the month of September doing wonderful things with family and friends on the water, in beautiful landscapes. And there was times when it was too much. I wasn't enjoying what I knew was possible. At times, it was just blips because it was just like too much, too fast, right? Even something wonderful, it can be too much. And if you haven't listened to it yet, listen to last week's podcast, which was on pause, because that is a really important element that's missing if you feel like you have to push yourself to be productive. If you sense that you're going into a space of overdrive, that is not a life of, how do I say, when we are following our true nature, there won't be feelings of burnout. We'll be catching our inner guidance, which is letting us know when to go, when to stop, when to slow down, when to pause. So productivity actually increases when you insert more pauses. Why? Because you can hear your inner guidance. You can hear the messaging of what to think, say, or do next. If there's anything to think, say, or do next in that moment. So it's kind of an oxymoron. Is that right? You need to push to be productive. No, I kind of see it as the opposite. For an example, getting ready to come here this morning, I was running a minute or two late, so I was trying to, and there was a pause that you offered because you were running a minute or so late too. It was perfect, but guess what? It's like, oh, great, now I have time. I can create my green shake and do that. So what happened in my hurriedness? I spilled stuff. The lid fell off, and then there was stuff to clean up on the floor, and then it was just yeah. So burnout, it lessens productivity. It lessens the enjoyment of life. We miss it. In the times where I was going from one place to the other, it's like I had to make a conscious choice decision to like, I never called it a pause at the time, but after last week's episode, yeah, absolutely. I had a pause and it was like a reset. And it's like, yeah, okay, I'm here, and I can enjoy this moment. And now that I'm enjoying this moment, I know I can enjoy the next thing. But in just like, okay, gotta hurry there and rush there, it was, even though the things that we were doing were wonderful, it was like they were tainted a bit. So, yeah. Yeah. Until there was a pause. Yeah. So, burnout is not the answer. Busyness. Yeah. The one thing after another.
And I think like what comes to mind around that is it's just this attempt to get somewhere. in the, it's that when I have X, I will feel Y, which is an equation that just isn't accurate, in the sense that just doesn't work that way. You're not going to get a better feeling from getting somewhere, but it might look, if I just get all the things ticked off on my list, if I just get so far in my business or my work or my career or, whatever, I've perhaps done all of those, I'll feel okay.
Mm.
And so that productivity piece that you mentioned is well, yeah, because I need to get all these things done, because once I've got all these things done, and then I can feel okay. And even even bizarrely can be just getting the things done. If we're feeling overwhelmed, overwhelm, I think, sends people one way or another. It kind of has people just freeze and not do anything, or work ridiculously hard to get everything done, so that at some point in the future I will feel okay, because there will be lines through everything on my list, and I'll be okay then. I'll be fine then. But of course, because that's underpinned by a misunderstanding, because the feeling that we're looking for is in the pause, like we talked about. It isn't in the doing of anything. It isn't in the controlling of our outside world. It isn't in, people being different or our circumstances being different. That, when we see that, we do different things to the things we would have done when driven by the outside in. Like you said, it can end up, yeah, there's productivity, but I would say my productivity is, it's very different now. It's very one thing at a time. It's got that flow to it. It's got that sense of presence to it, right? This is the next thing that makes sense now, not because there's a goal to get somewhere, but because this is what makes sense now. Because the truth is that we don't have anything other than the present moment ever. That is just not a thing. Just doesn't exist. Tempting though it can be to believe that it does, it just doesn't. There's just now. And we spoil now in a way with all the trying to get somewhere else. We miss what's now. In the run up to burnout, I probably wouldn't have even noticed anything in my environment, like even nice things in nature, and a little bird, or this year really noticing the autumn changing very rapidly in a slightly different way, because we've had so little rain, and even noticing the weather, like noticing how good the weather still is. We're still persisting with the nice weather, which is lovely. But just noticing all that, I never would have. I'd have been too sort of head down, focused, got to get on, got to keep moving forward, and missing all the wonderful things that are in my life right now. Back then, it was always just never. It was never enough. I wasn't enough, and my world wasn't enough either. And I think that maybe not enoughness underpins why people end up burnt out, because nothing's ever enough.
Right. Yeah.
But now I see so much more of my world. I connect to it. I notice just the small things, like noticing that journey that I spoke about before. Spoke about it last week, where I got guided to go to a shop, and then I got guided to buy the thing that I needed, that I'd forgotten I needed, and there was like this sort of slowness to that.
Yeah.
We don't hear that when we're just busy trying to get somewhere. We don't connect to what's there within us, but we also don't connect to what's there in our environment. I see more things. I notice flowers and stuff in nature. I just notice stuff so much more now than I did before, because I want to enjoy now, because it's the only thing we've got, really. Not to be pessimistic, but we could all fall under a bus tomorrow. Let's just really be with what's in the here and now. And I think if you're really present, there's no way you could burn out.
Yeah.
It's like the burnout. Presence maybe is the antidote to burnout.
Yes. And how to know if you're, in any moment, you would mention it. It's like going back to the feeling. What does it feel like? Because we can be so busy, we can be so productive, but feel stress or strain or nothing inside. And it's like, how does it feel? That'll guide you, that'll guide you.
I think it just felt like a continual buzzing to me, like vibrating all the time as I went into burnout, And I probably it didn't. I can only kind of vaguely remember that when I'm thinking about it in the past, but probably didn't even really notice it. Thought that was normal to be like that. But I'm so much more sensitive now to those little movements in my emotional state that nothing's as big as it used to be. Everything's a lot smaller.
Right.
You have to tune in, I think, as you get quieter, there's less noise in the system. You can start to really tune into those little nudges from the system that, like you saying, are just saying, "Oh, do you want to just back off for a minute and just take a breath?"
Yeah. It's really all very simple.
But not always easy, eh?
Not always easy.
Definitely.
Thank
Thank you.
you,
That's a
Clare.
good word. Good word.
Yeah, very good. Thanks for sharing your insight on that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
See you next time.
Yes, you will indeed. Ciao for now.
Bye.
Hey, thank you for being a part of Navigating Life with Ease. We'd love to hear your feedback and receive a review on your favorite podcast platform. This will help others who'd also like more ease in their life to find us. We're here to support you, so if you've any words you'd like us to explore or you have a question, please reach out to us at navigatinglifewithease@gmail.com. Again, thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more episodes of Navigating Life with Ease.